Mr. Powell, the Cleveland Cavaliers do not have a pick in the second round of tonight's two-part NBA draft, which, A, it's stupid they've separated this into two nights, but it is what it is. The Cavs do not pick. But will they jump into the second round and take Bronny James? Steve, if you want to take this graphic real quick, some of the top remaining candidates left on the board, and there's a line there for a reason. Johnny Furphy, Kyle Filipowski, Tyler Smith, Cam Christie. I put a line there for Bronny James, who is not one of the top prospects left, but that's who I want to ask about. And Jalen Wells is a name I just want you guys to remember because I think he is in play for the Cavs as they move back into the second round. But Tyvis, let's focus on Bronny here. Are the Cavs going to move back into the second round and take Bronny James? Yes or no?
No. Well, I don't think so, because for the simple fact that a lot of people are high on Bronny James, and I just think that it's a lot that comes with getting him. I mean, this is a guy that's undersized, 6'1". I think you got that going on right now with your guards. They say he plays really good defense, but I also believe that if you're 6'1", you're always going to be a defensive liability, you know, and I think that it'll be a nice story. I think it'll make a nice story. He goes to the same team that his father got drafted to, but I don't think, I think it'll take a while for him to, get to where he wants to be. And on top of that, I think the Lakers want to keep LeBron satisfied, so I think he goes to the LA Lakers.
Let me ask you guys. I think that was good. I think it was good analysis.
Jason, how did I do?
I think you did fine. I didn't know we're grading each other.
There's some upside post-segment.
Some upside with
because you'll come in and be like, 100%,
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this
Dan
about
and LeBron had an agreement that he would take his son and he's going to do it. You'll say something like that.
I've been holding my breath.
I would draft Bronny if I were the Cavs. I would try to.
I am like
Why?
I am like this until Bronny's off the board.
Oh yeah.
Like seriously, I'm like this.
But let me ask you guys this, and really, it's probably impossible to answer. I would love to ask this question to LeBron when I was sure he'd be totally honest, and if he knew it didn't get out there. Obviously, LeBron is more physically gifted than his son. We understand this. He's more physically gifted probably than any player maybe in the history of sports, certainly in the history of the NBA. But there's also something that LeBron had that Bronny does not. And that's LeBron grew up poor.
So
LeBron grew up
hungry, is what you
in a tough environment.
Okay.
Bronny grew up with money out the you-know-what.
Okay.
And I wonder just in general, and not that he's the first player to ever come into the league or any league that came from money, but and I don't say that to knock him in any way. It's not like, oh, he's spoiled. I'm not saying that. I don't even know the kid. I'm not trying to insult him. There's just, I would assume, as someone who did not come from money, that it's just human nature that a kid that's poor, which most professional, I don't know about, it's got to be most professional athletes probably grew up either poor or middle class. Mm-hmm. Not that many grew up rich. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if there's something to that where it's not life on the line. Like if Bronny doesn't make it in the NBA, he's still going to be fine for life.
I mean, you can.
And again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it's human nature.
I would think,
and
I
wonder what kind of a factor that is.
I don't know Bronny like the next person. I don't know him personally, but I would think that, for one, he wanted his name to be Bronny. He don't want to go by LeBron James Jr. He want to go by Bronny because he always said he wanted to blaze his own path. And if that's the case, I don't want to go through my life as I got to live up to the expectation of my father. To me, it sounds like he's been a kid that always wanted to separate himself from his father's legacy. He want to blaze his own path.
But that's really impossible.
Every kid does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every kid does.
Does he know that he's good if everything fails? Absolutely.
Right.
But it's nothing better than saying it's my own. Like I did, this is mine. And I think that when he's been doing his interviews and when he's been talking, I think he said, don't draft me because I'm LeBron's son. Draft me because you want me.
Sure.
And I think that's the approach that you should be taking.
Right.
And I feel like he's been carrying himself that way for pretty much since he jumped on the map. So I would think that if I was him and I wouldn't want, I don't even associate me with my father. We're not the same player. I'm not going to be 6'7". I'm not coming in as I got to be the next Jordan. Like, that's not his thing. He's coming in, he's telling you right now, what was he named his comparisons. He like picked some B-level
He picked
player.
Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, like he picked players that's not stars because he's real with himself. And I respect that a lot about him. I think he's going to go get in the league, and I think his father's absolutely going to help him get into the league. 1,000%.
I got no problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. His father's name is getting him into the league. But I think he is one of those kids that once he gets in, he will either prove us that he wants to stay because of how good he is, or he's going to realize, you know what, maybe this is a little bit too much, but I'm good either way.
Go ahead, Jess.
I hear what you're saying. The flip side to it,
Yeah.
I would look at, like, Ken Griffey Jr. had money. He didn't
That's
stop
true.
him.
That's true.
And also,
he didn't have this kind of money.
no, but the son of a professional athlete.
Yeah.
They
He's
did
good.
all right.
Yeah.
They did all right growing up. And also, I think having that money afforded Bronny every advantage
Sure.
in terms of training,
Yes.
equipment.
No doubt.
Like, he had everything at his disposal.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think Bronny's had to deal with is the competition level from every other kid who looked at him and said, "You're the bronze kid. You think you're all that? I'm going to bust your ass."
Oh,
today."
that's true.
He got the very best of every player
good
on
point.
the court from the time he was 11 and 12 years old, of every kid saying, "I'm going to take him out."
That's a great point. And by the way, Kevin Garnett, I heard him talking about Bronny the other day, and he talked about him at the Combine, and he said that he thought that he did a great job at the Combine.
I agree. I thought he did.
Yeah.
great.
Oh, he lit the combine
I mean,
up.
like interview process and how he
Right.
carried himself.
Yes, but he
I'm
also
not a
said
draft
that, like,
evaluator.
his point was the lights, because he's been around the spotlight for so long, you don't have to worry about it. To me, if I got those genes, it's the second round. Why on earth would you not take him? And by the way, what is he, 19?
19, he was a top prospect, and he came
He
into his
could
freshman
get taller.
I just
year, cardiac arrest.
There are guys who get taller at 19, 20, 21 even. It's not impossible.
A little, but it's not like he's going to grow 5 inches, 6 inches.
All right, but what if he was 6'3"? What if he got to 6'3", 6'4", instead of 6'1"? I mean,
my only issue with Bronny is that it's kind of USC's fault. They put him. He played the 3 at USC, so he
Right.
wasn't a primary ball handler. But he's gonna come to the NBA and be a backup point guard, where he's gonna be a primary ball handler.
right.
So like that part. So like he's never really.
No, he's the natural point guard
But why did he play the 3?
because they already had one.
So why didn't they take him to another school?
So why couldn't he play the 2?
Well, the fact that he couldn't beat out somebody ahead of him is
Sure.
also sort of a
Yeah, we got something there.
But
Did that kid get drafted? That point guard?
Isaiah Collier, yeah, he went 27, I believe. I'll tell you in a second. I'll pull up the exact draft order.
I talked to a scout who saw him on the AAU circuit extensively, and he said, "I like the kid because he can play." Like, I'm not saying I'd burn a first round pick on him, but he said, like, if you put him in where he's supposed to be and develop him, he's got a chance. So it's not like everybody thinks this kid's not a prospect.
Right.
It's going to take some work, obviously. And, to your point, I was talking to somebody where it's like, for what LeBron has meant, and this isn't fair to the kid, and that's why it's a little, but for what LeBron has meant to the organization, what he's meant to the city, what better tribute is there? You want to build a statue? No, go draft his kid.
Yeah. If I'm the Cavs, I'm trying to get a pick to draft him. What's the downside?
At this point,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll tell you, last night I was like, oh my God. Like, I was sitting there. Mike knows how much I've heard the smoke around Bronny and the Cavs for a while. And I was like, oh, if they do this, oh man, I ain't going to bed tonight. And I was just like, so I was relieved when they didn't take him. But at this point in the
second round. What? By the way, what year is Bryce? By the way,
Oh, he's 2 years.
He's an upcoming June, so he's an upcoming senior now.
and he's considered a much better prospect, isn't he?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was at
taller.
one time.
He's bigger.
taller,
He's
yeah.
a bigger, but he's a 3-star recruit.
Oh, okay. All right.
Also, by the way, you asked about Collier. He went 29th last night to Utah.
Man, he barely
and to
made it
Jalen
out.
Tyson, I just looked this up. We were talking about size of wings and stuff. He is essentially the exact same size as Jaylen Brown with 2-inch shorter arms. So guard, wing, whatever you want to call him.
That's so funny,
He
'cause Jaylen
measured
Brown
at the
seems bigger.
combine at the exact same size as Jaylen Brown, except his arms are 2 inches shorter.
What
6'5.5" with no shoes.
What does the red line mean?
Those guys
pull
are
that back
not.
up, Steve.
Those guys are
Yeah,
not
it
as
was
big of
simply-
prospects.
Simply, those 4 are the top 4 remaining prospects on ESPN. I wanted to include Bronny James because that's where this discussion was going, and Jalen Wells out of Washington State, a name I just want you guys to remember tonight in
Yeah.
case the Cavs get active.
Mike's
So
hearing
real quick
rumors,
before we
maybe.
move on here, Bull,
Yeah.
you say yes, acquire a pick, try to get in the second round to draft Bronny. Tyvis, you said you would or would not.
Personally, I would go with Furphy, but yeah, it doesn't matter. If they did it, I wouldn't be mad at it. Okay, yeah, sure.
And Jason, yes or no?
I don't know how many roster spots they have legitimately open, and I guess we won't know the answer to that until we know how some things
Right.
shake out. At this point, why not?
Why not?
Where are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
you talking about late in the second round? Go sure.
Well, I mean, you got to
Probably have to draft. Somebody's going to draft.
You got to
him.
get ahead of Phoenix and LA if you're going to do that.
Well, okay, that's.
I don't even know where Phoenix picks.
I don't
Where's
know
Phoenix
either.
picking?
Phoenix has a bunch of picks now because they traded the 22nd
That's
pick
right.
for some others, so I'm not exactly sure
Oh, so you're going to Phoenix?
where those picks are in the second round, but they have a couple second-round picks now.
So you're going?
Well, I'll
so
tell
you're
you.
going to Phoenix?
Who'd you say? Phoenix and who?
The Lakers at 55.
Neither one of them's picking for a while.
But Phoenix has the picks they just traded for yesterday. I'm not sure if it's updated
Has it
yet.
been
Out of
updated?
curiosity, what would it take to draft to get in the second round?
Jason would know better
A lot
than
of times you can just buy those picks.
Oh, okay.
Just
Just
money.
send some cash.
But it depends on how high up.
By the way,
you're
last
trying
thing
to